yeah, and I'm extremely grateful for everything that's been given to me and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm just excited for my future.
What are we seeing out there that maybe we didn't see at USC?
Just flexibility, given a chance. Yeah, and just everyone believing in me and stuff like that. Even not that everyone at USC didn't, but yeah, just an open opportunity to showcase.
And what will go into your decision process?
You're like,
No.
this is hard. So imagine your brother.
Yeah, and
like,
I'm not. Yeah, I did
No,
not
but-
mean to make that sound
No,
like walk in the park.
No, I'm validating what you're saying of like,
Yeah.
it looks like, wow, look how great that is. But
Yeah.
it's like,
The most intense father-son dynamic in sports history has just exploded into open war. In a stunning, unscripted moment live on camera, Bronny James was asked about the relentless pressure of being LeBron James's son. His answer wasn't the usual respectful script. It was a volcanic eruption of years of pent-up frustration. Looking directly into the lens, his voice shaking with a mix of defiance and pain, Bronny delivered a message that will echo through the NBA forever. I'm not a legacy project. I'm not a business plan to complete the James brand. I'm my own man. And until I can make my own mistakes, have my own successes without it being a chapter in his story, I can't breathe. The room was utterly silent. He hadn't just criticized the pressure. He had identified the architect. He framed his entire basketball life as a meticulously managed subsidiary of LeBron James, Inc. The most shocking part was the final, quiet plea that felt like a shout. He needs to stop controlling my life. In that moment, Bronny didn't just want space to play. He demanded sovereignty over his own career and identity. The press conference ended abruptly, but the explosion was just beginning. Chapter 1. The setting was a post-game press conference after a G League game. Bronny James, having just played his most assertive and effective professional minutes to date, sat at the podium. A reporter asked a question he's heard 1,000 times, but framed with a new edge. Bronny, you showed real aggression tonight. Did you feel a weight off your shoulders playing for yourself and not just as LeBron's son? For a moment, Bronny stared at the microphone. The practiced, media-trained answers seemed to die on his lips. He took a deep breath, and when he spoke, his usual monotone was gone, replaced by a raw, simmering intensity. "You want to know about weight?" he began, his eyes locked ahead. "The weight isn't the name. The weight is the blueprint. The weight is having every step of your life since you could walk mapped out for you. What to eat, who to train with, what school to go to, what to say, what not to say." He leaned forward, his voice dropping but gaining a cutting clarity. "I love my dad. I respect what he's done more than anyone, but I am not a legacy project. I am not a business plan to complete the James brand. I'm my own man. And until I can make my own mistakes, have my own successes without it being a chapter in his story, I can't breathe." The room was utterly silent. He hadn't just criticized the pressure, he had identified the architect. He framed his entire basketball life as a
AAU days, so I love having them there to support me, and that also gives me a little boost of energy and enthusiasm. So it's always great to see them.
Do you hear your sister?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. And I love it.
It's been easy to think more driving and kicking. Is it like the game slowed down for you a little bit?
If it's unfair, why did you put yourself in this position?
Because I love basketball myself, so I can't do shit I love.
Yes, you can, but you're going to get criticized for it. We're not going to change the business model.
So if I just stop
for you,
playing, I'm going to get criticized.
we're not going to change.
Within minutes, the clip was a global firestorm, but the reaction fractured along a generational and philosophical fault line, revealing a deep cultural clash in how we view legacy, family, and ambition. One camp erupted in applause for Bronny. This group, largely younger fans and commentators, hailed him as a hero of self-determination. Finally, read one viral tweet. Someone had to say it. He's been a prisoner in a gilded cage his whole life. They framed his outburst not as disrespect, but as a long overdue declaration of personhood. They saw LeBron's legendary blueprint not as a gift, but as a suffocating script that denied Bronny the fundamental right to struggle, fail, and define himself. To them, this was a necessary rebellion against a form of loving control that had become oppression. The other camp reacted with visceral outrage. This faction, which included many older fans, media personalities, and voices from LeBron's own circle, condemned Bronny as ungrateful and entitled. He wouldn't have a G League podium to speak from without that blueprint, argued a prominent sports talk host. LeBron gave him every advantage imaginable. This is the most painful form of betrayal. They saw Bronny's words as a profound failure to understand sacrifice, confusing immense privilege for...
Obviously, you grew up here and you could hear the crowd, starting to buzz in that fourth quarter. How, when you check into the game, do you kind of keep your composure, play the right way and not force anything, and then eventually you do get the jumper and hit it? How do you kind of mentally go through that whole thing?
I just say, I've been just taught to play the right way my whole life, so just me going in there.
History tonight, the first father-son duo to play together in an NBA game. This is all in the family.
In the eye of this hurricane, LeBron James's response was not one of anger or public rebuttal. It was a profound, chilling silence. His social media channels, usually a curated mix of business, family, and inspiration, went dark on the topic. There were no indirect quotes, no cryptic posts, just silence. This silence was more powerful than any rant. It was the sound of a kingdom pausing. To his defenders, it showed the dignity of a father taking the high road, absorbing the pain to de-escalate a family matter. To Bronny's supporters, it was the ultimate display of control, the refusal to even acknowledge the rebellion, treating it as beneath his realm of concern. It was a masterclass in passive power, proving that he still dictated the terms of engagement. He would not be drawn into a public feud with his son. But behind the scenes, according to sources close to the family, the silence masked a state of devastated shock. LeBron, who has built an empire on foresight and control, had apparently never foreseen this specific revolt. The bedrock of his legacy project, the harmonious father-son succession, had cracked. The private focus immediately shifted to containment and private reconciliation, not
At the film, and he did step out of bounds, but I'm not going to go there.
No, you can go there.
I'm not going to go there right now.
That's a big part of it.
But
What do you mean you're not going to go there right now? You just went there.
I definitely did. I definitely did, but
I stepped out of bounds?
he stepped out of bounds.
They don't even have that
I
camera
gotta stop.
angle of the
I gotta
baseline like
stop.
that.
All I know is I got to stop.
Tell them about the stop I got on you when you dribbled out of bounds, though.
Now, that was a foul, too. He slapped my whole arm, and we...
Bronny, get off and get a bucket.
Bronny's public detonation has irreversibly changed the trajectory of his career and the James family legacy. The path forward is no longer a pre-written script from LeBron's camp. It is a raw, uncertain new reality with only difficult choices ahead. The most logical yet painful path is the clean break. This would mean Bronny, with new representation, actively seeking a trade from the Lakers' G League affiliate or a contract overseas, anywhere that is geographically and organizationally distant from his father's orbit. It is the only way to truly answer his own demand, to succeed or fail under his own name, in a context where every shot isn't a referendum on LeBron's parenting. It is the ultimate act of self-determination, but also an admission that the dream of a shared NBA journey is dead. The alternative is an uneasy truce. This would involve a private family reckoning and a new negotiated understanding. LeBron would have to publicly and meaningfully step back, ceding control of Bronny's development and media narrative to independent coaches and agents. Bronny would have to walk back some of his public anger. They would present a united, repaired front, but the relationship would be permanently professionalized, more like a business partnership between a veteran and a rookie than a father-son dynasty. The trust of the old...
Putting that Bronny James narrative out there more is, instead of just being LeBron James' son. I think that's really important for me.
Now, with that being said, does that motivate you a little bit? Because there's...
LeBron James made his first public comments today, 3 days after his oldest son, Bronny, went into cardiac arrest. The NBA star thanked everyone for their love and prayers, saying, quote, "We have our family together, safe and healthy."
Beyond the immediate family drama, Bronny's rebellion strikes at the heart of a modern cultural obsession, the curated legacy. LeBron James represents the peak of a generation that sought to build not just careers, but mythologies. Every move, every partnership, every family moment has been part of a grand narrative arc. The rise of the king, the business mogul, the family man. Bronny was the planned final perfect chapter, the prince who ascends, validating the kingdom's design. By shouting, "Stop controlling my life," Bronny didn't just reject his father's plans, he rejected the premise of the curated legacy itself. He declared that a human life is not a chapter to be written, even with the best intentions. His outburst was a referendum on the pressure faced by all children of icons, the pressure to live as a supporting character in someone else's epic biography. This forces a brutal public reevaluation of LeBron's own story. Was his legendary discipline and control...
In year 23, what message are you trying to leave that kid?
It's all about the joy. It's all about the joy. Once you lose the joy of the game, then nothing else matters. It becomes irrelevant. So go out there, work hard, play for your teammates, play for your family.
With the 55th pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, the Los Angeles Lakers select...
The immediate aftermath is a landscape of profound uncertainty. The carefully constructed narrative of like father, like son lies in ruins, replaced by a raw, public family fracture. For LeBron, the final stage of his career is now shadowed by this schism. His legacy, once envisioned as a seamless blend of on-court dominion and off-court dynasty building, now bears a deep personal crack. The pursuit of a storybook ending playing alongside his son is over. His greatness is unchallenged, but the human chapter of his legend is now one of complex tension, not tidy harmony. He must navigate the impossible task of being a supportive father from a distance he never planned, all under an unforgiving public microscope. For Bronny, the path is terrifyingly blank for the first time. There is no longer a blueprint. Every decision, every struggle, every success will now be his own. The crushing weight of expectation may be lighter, but it is replaced by the terrifying weight of total responsibility. He has won his freedom, but freedom in the NBA is a dangerous gift, full of pitfalls and no guaranteed safety nets. He is now truly on his own, which is all he asked for, and the stakes could not be higher. Their relationship has entered uncharted territory. They are no longer simply father and son or mentor and prospect. They are two separate entities in the same brutal business, with a shared history that is now a source of public pain as much as private pride. Reconciliation will require a humility and a relinquishment of control that LeBron has never had to practice, and a forgiveness from Bronny that may take years to fully manifest. So what did Bronny's defiant cry truly achieve? It achieved an emancipation. It shattered the gilded cage of a pre-written destiny. He may stumble in the unfamiliar light of freedom, but he will stumble as Bronny James, not as LeBron James's son fulfilling a prophecy. It exposed the hidden cost of a curated life. It reminded the world that behind every smooth legacy narrative are real, complex people who may not want to play their assigned part. It challenged the very idea that a parent's dreams, however grand, can be a blueprint for a child's soul. The haunting final question